Alright guys, so it's been about a month since we've had the new beautiful mountain and river maps added into Manor Lords, and in that time we've had underwater armies, we've had amphibious assaults, we've even had animals and people in awe of the Great River to the point where they actually stop working. But we've also had some absolutely beautiful and massive player-built towns that, I occasionally peruse the Discord and the Reddit to find to see how, people are building their towns, the layouts, the beautiful shots that they're sharing to give me some inspiration in my next playthrough. So today we're going to go through all of the biggest and most beautiful towns so far of Manor Lords in Update 4. So the first town we're going to look at here is a 1,000 population town in the mountain map, and I picked it out because it's not just massive, but it's also visually stunning. Beautiful layout here with the marketplace in the middle, inroads going in between, trees, cosmetic in the middle. You've got the church surrounded by apple orchards, beautiful touch there. You've got tons of level 3 houses, so that always adds to the beauty of the town as well. And you've got a nice little kind of self-sustaining farm down at the bottom of the hill leading up to the main city. It's just a really impressively built town. The next one here is a 1,500 population town, which is impressive in its own. I never get past 1,000 really in my own playthroughs, but this one is doubly impressive because it is all in one single region. That's right. It looks like 3 or 4 different towns all kind of tied together across bridges as well. There are 8 bridges here, which is insane. You've got 4 or 5 churches, 8 bridges, loads of apple orchards, and it's all self-sustaining in a single region, which is just insane to me. I mean, I always find I have to expand into other regions to get access to more food resources, to get into my level 3 housing, etc. But he's all done it in a single region. It's absolutely amazing. It's a stunning looking town as well. I have to commend this player, and he's actually shared a few cool shots of his army with the background town as well across the river. It's just really, really well done. Now, I picked this next town, even if it doesn't look visually kind of realistic, or authentic to how towns like this were built in history and in medieval Germany, but I picked it out because not only is it a 2,000 population town, all again self-sustaining in a single region, but it looks visually really interesting and unique. In the last 2 screenshots here, you'll see it's actually inspired me to try this out in my own playthrough as well. Have a main town like in the middle with all these level 3 houses, all surrounded by farmland and apple orchards. And, it must have taken so much planning to do, but it's really impressive. And then I actually found another town just like this, as you can see. So circular little villages, plots here surrounded by farmland. There are actually smaller little pastures of sheep dotted around as well to keep fertility high, which I quite like. So it's all much more kind of visually appealing from a distance as well, not as structured as the town before. I think this is going to be closer to how I build my next playthrough. And then just going back to some more river towns here, we've got an absolutely massive town here that's been walled as well along the river. I love how kind of right in between 2 different bridges and 2 different directions for more towns this huge city is. I also love that he was inspired by actual medieval towns in history. So I think this is inspired by a Polish town, if I remember correctly, and he's properly structured and laid it out to be able to mimic that map that he found. I love the layout of the granaries next to the river, the visual beauty from a distance. It's really a prime example of a river town. And then I've got 2 examples of really beautiful, like stunningly beautiful mountain and river towns here. The river town is walled out completely, so everything inside the walls you can't touch. If you've done this before, it's basically a cosmetic town as soon as you wall it. And the hilltop town is very kind of beautiful, mountains in the distance. I really like the opportunity the mountain map gives you to build these hilltop towns basically with keeps kind of overlooking cliffs, etc. And same with the river map as well. I mean, the river map is a beautiful example of a walled town, and then kind of realistically having farmland outside of the walls as well. That's kind of poorer communities working the earth, to sustain your town and your people. Just 2 really beautiful examples of how you can develop towns in these new maps. By the way, if you're watching all this and you don't own Manor Lords and you'd like to, you can pick it up with a massive 53% discount on Instant Gaming, a reputable reputable game key reseller that I've been using for a little while now. They have a great roster of games like Sniper Elite Resistance, Path of Exile 2, and even all of the Total War franchise will have much bigger discounts than ever before. So if you're thinking about buying, make sure to click the link below to get your games for cheap and support the channel at the same time. Now let's get back to Manor Lords. Before getting into our next massive town here, I actually want to pivot for a moment and talk also about bridge battles because, with the new river map, you can build lots of bridges. You can actually lure in the Baron for your big Baron battles into a choke point, into huge bridge battles here with archers on either side, firing, raining down fire, and it's absolutely amazing. It's one of the best things that could have happened actually to Manor Lords, having these bridges, having beautiful spectacles of battles here across bridges as well is just a really, really cool thing to see. So if you've not tried it yet, I highly recommend you get some bridge battles going in your playthroughs. Now, this next town is quite cool. My own mountain map playthroughs, I usually keep my towns quite siloed and individual, not quite connected, but this is 3 different towns connected across 3 regions, and some of these are walled out. There are lots of farming communities, mining, lots of lumber industry going on around as well, lots of forests still kind of persistent, and you've got a really cool kind of layered, different kind of styles of castles built around each of these towns as well. Some of these towns are completely walled out. Others have castles quite kind of on the corner of the map, and others have really quite cool, like little kind of castle layouts with the town inside them as well. And then finally, guys, I found lots of little kind of sporadic screenshots of towns here and there that players have built or that they're still working on. I thought this was a really good one because it's kind of reminiscent of an early Budapest, maybe, with the richer town on the other side, on the elevated side of the river. You've got a huge walled level 3 kind of a city here, which is really, really cool. Well done. I'm hoping in the future this player adds another town on the other side on top of those cliffs. But he's done a great job of, really interesting circular layout walled of his main city with farmland on the other side, all feeding in to the population surplus. Lovely, beautiful screenshots of what his town looks like from the distance across the river as well. This is another good example of this, but maybe a bit smaller, much, much bigger kind of walled side of it. Of course, as you can see, it's very structured as well with big, big roads going in and out, huge cobblestone roads, which I really, really quite liked as well. I want to experiment myself on towns that have much wider roads in future, and I really like that he's got this marketplace here, which again is just a prime example of how these huge avenues can be built in between various buildings and marketplaces, etc. And then lastly, we've got a river map town here that I thought was really cool. Kind of picked this out because the keep is on the cliff, really nicely kind of layered out there, overlooking one side of the town, while this side is, fully built out, lots of level 3 houses, apple orchards, and love that there are trees dotted in and out of the town as well. Really nicely done. So yeah, that's essentially all the towns that I could find from the last month since the new maps have been added in. Lots of beautiful, stunning screenshots that players have been sharing of the work that they're doing. Big, massive towns as well, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 pop towns across multiple regions, and all self-sustaining in a single region at times as well. There's some really, really great stuff here. I think a lot of people, I'm noticing, are experimenting a lot more with kind of walling and enclosing their towns with city walls. So I'm hoping that in the future, Slavic Magic, very near future, in the next couple updates, there's an actual update that releases that allows players to do this and still be able to grow and access the various buildings within their towns as well. But that's going to be it for today, guys. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below, and let me know all the kinds of towns that you have been building lately in the new maps as well. Subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, going through all the beautiful and massive towns players are building across Manor Lords. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.